Hey, what's up, guys? I'm gonna do a wash tonight. I figured I would just go over, I guess, my washing procedure. I know a lot of people have asked me, the products I use and just kind of my process I do with my washing. So I figured I would kind of not go over step by step, but just kind of talk you through it as I'm doing it. Kind of show you the products that I'm using and all the different pieces that are parts and everything that I use when I do wash. From the brushes and the products. Also, the brushes and the power washer and the foam cannons, all that stuff. I'll kind of go over it in detail as I'm doing it, just to kind of give you guys a kind of glimpse into how I wash my car each week. The car is actually really dirty. I haven't washed it for 2 weeks, maybe. I think it may have been even 3 weeks. We got a lot of rain the past couple weeks, so and I've just been really busy the past couple weekends, so I never got a chance. So I figured tonight I would get the car washed. It's Saturday night, so I got some time, and I figured I'll just knock it out and make a video for you guys because I know a lot of people have been requesting this video. So I figured, what the heck. So let me get the car out. I gotta move the. I washed the car in the garage. If you haven't noticed, I'll go over that as well. Why I washed it in the garage, but um, I just got to move the car. I got to put it in the middle, just so I have enough space on each side to wash the car. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. So first thing I got to do is I got to get the water on, get the power washer hooked up, which I have on the wall over here. Um, so let me get that started. It's kind of dark out. I'm doing it at night, obviously. It's nighttime. You can see from there. Um, but all I do is I have a hose hookup right out the right on the outside of the garage here, and I just hook it up to the power washer. I'll show you that in a sec. But let me go get the water on, and let's get started. All right, so I got the water hooked up. I'm ready to go. Let me go over the products real quick of what I'm using. The first thing I always start off washing my car is I always start with the wheels first. That's just the way kind of that I developed my process. So I kind of start with the dirtiest thing first, and cleaning the wheels. Not many people like cleaning wheels, including me. I'm not a big fan of it just because it takes so long to do each wheel. So I kind of just like to get it over with, so I can just focus on the rest of the car after I do that. I mean, you obviously can do it last or any order that you want, but to me, I feel like when you are cleaning off the wheel, it does spray some dirt and grime and stuff off the wheel onto the paint of the car. So by doing the wheels first, I always had this this thought that if I did the wheels first, I wouldn't be spraying any of the crap that comes off the wheels onto the paint, or onto clean paint, I should say. So I just always done wheels first. So that's where I'm going to start. I always start at the driver's side front, and then do do the driver rear, passenger front, passenger rear. Don't mind the sidewalk chalk on the ground. That's for my kids. Um, Hopefully, I'm planning to get Swiss tracks in here at some point, but for now, that's just kind of what I have to do. But yes, I may have said this before, but I do wash my car in the garage. To me, it's just easier because I have better lighting, and I can do it at night. Doing it in the daytime, you're kind of rushed with, if it's sunny out and everything. For somebody that has kids, I'm sure you can relate. There's only so much time in the day that you're able to get things done. So I always found that if I had time during the day, it was the worst time to wash it. It was super bright sun, and I felt pressured to do it just because I didn't want to deal with water spotting and just beating the heat and not having to worry about or worrying about just any products or water kind of sitting on the paint. Doing it in the garage, it allows me to take my time, and I can see better with the better lighting and everything, and it allows me to get it done any hour of the day. Obviously I don't do it too late because I have neighbors and everything, but at least I'm able to get this done, because otherwise it would kind of suck doing this out there, because it is kind of darker out there and you can't really see. I have before, obviously. I used to wash it out in the driveway, but now since I started in the garage maybe about 2 years ago, I don't wash it any other way. But yeah, I'm gonna start on the wheels, and I'll go over the products real quick. So I have a Greenworks pressure washer, Greenworks 2000 PSI. I have it mounted up on the wall here. It usually comes on a cart, but for me it's just easier to kind of have it mounted here, just because for me it's easier to set up and clean up. I don't have to wheel anything out. It's just always there. I have a hose hookup right there. Can't really see, but all I do is just turn the water on and connect there, and I run the power outlet over to my toolbox, which actually has a surge protector right over here. So I just plug into that and I get power and water and everything, so I'm good to go. And all I got to do is just turn it on, but I haven't yet. For the products, the gun that I'm using is an MTM M407. It's an older model, but I've had it for about 4 years now, and it's done a really great job. There's obviously better ones out there, but I just haven't taken the leap because this has worked totally fine for me. You know, it is showing some signs of wear, and you know, over the years, but it's still working totally fine. I got it on Amazon. I think it was like 30 or 40 bucks at the time. I don't know what it is now. Actually, I don't even know if they still make this one, but yeah, it has served its purpose totally fine, and I'm happy with it. It took me a while to get all these connections, and everything's on quick disconnects, so you know, I can just pop this out. Well, it's kind of hard to do with one hand, but yeah, pop that out, put the foam cannon in and everything. Same thing here. I'm able to pop that out down there, and you know, when I clean up everything, I take this off. I have a separate wheel bucket. I don't fill it with anything. A lot of people, you know, use soap or something like that. But the only two products that I use on the wheels are Adams wheel cleaner and Adams tire and rubber. I do have different bottles just because I prefer the cleaner look. I have my own labels and everything like that. But I have used a few other wheel cleaning products before. One of my favorites is Nexet Color Tech, which does a really great job, but it smells really bad. And I don't think it's really that great for the environment. So I'm not some crazy environmental freak or anything like that, but you know, sometimes you kind of got to pay attention to that stuff. So it does a great job, and it foams up really nicely. But another great alternative that's a little bit safer and it's not as harsh, I guess, is the Adams wheel cleaner. I use a lot of Adams stuff that you'll see later in the video, but the wheel cleaner is great. It's almost like a soap. It's very thick, so it sticks onto the wheel, and you'll see it kind of doing its work. I just have a simple Home Depot bucket here, but the other ones, my other buckets, I have the Adams rinse and soap bucket. Not that it really matters, but that's just what I use. For my wheel brush, this is an easy detail brush. It's great to get into the barrel, you know, get around the brakes and everything in the wheel well. I use this brush for the lugs, the brakes, the calipers, and I do it around the tire stem there because it's kind of hard to get in there. And I also have a Tough Shine brush, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with these days. Matt Mormon from Obsessed Garage recommended this to everyone that watches this stuff about 5 years ago, and I got one back then, and this is still the same one, and it's in great shape, and it's great. I scrub the tires with it. I use the tire and rubber cleaner on this with this, and it does a great job. The last thing I use is the lamb mitt. It's great because fits your fingers great. It's great to get in all the spokes and everything, and kind of do a good thorough cleaning. So it's really soft. I have this for 2 years now, and it still looks brand new. So that's the products that I use, and let's get cleaning. First thing I do to clean the wheel is to just spray it off. Just kind of get all the loose contaminants, and you know, just loosen everything up, and then I spray the wheel cleaner on. So let me rinse it off real quick, and then I'll show you the next step. All right, so next step, I'm using Adams wheel cleaner. All I do is, directions actually say to spray it on dry, but I prefer to have it wet. For me, I feel like it foams up a little bit better, and I don't know, I just find it to clean a little bit better. You can try, I tried it both ways. You can try it both ways yourself and see which way you like better, but this is just the way I prefer. So kind of go to town on this and just get inside the barrel and the brakes and just go nuts. What a lot of people don't realize is, you know, they get some products and they try them out, but they don't end up using enough of it. So they don't really get a good indication of how the product works because they're not using enough. Like, I totally understand. I used to be like that when I was younger, and you know, not that I was cheap, but I couldn't afford the things. So, you know, I was very cautious with the amount of product I was using. But now that I'm older and I guess I can afford this stuff, you know, I kind of make sure that I use the product with its intention, and it just ends up working a lot better. So, you know, just don't be cautious with it. Spray it on, and then I kind of just let it sit for a little bit, and it kind of just starts breaking down all the brake dust and everything on the wheel, and then it makes it a little bit easier to clean. So the first thing I'm going to do is use my lug brush to get the brakes and everything, and then I'll go to the next step. With each step, I usually wet the brush that I'm using, just to kind of help with the foaming. I really don't like products that don't foam. For some reason, I feel like it doesn't clean as well, and it doesn't give the lubrication that I like. I like to have as much foam or soap as possible, just to help eliminate any scratching or anything like that, because, you know, soap is the best way to help keep the swirls and scratches down on your paint or wheels or anything. So you want to make sure you have a good foam or good suds on whatever thing that you're cleaning. So as you can see, I'm kind of reaching in, just trying to get the brakes as best as I can. A lot of people skip this step, and you know, you see like the front of the faces of the wheels really clean, but inside the brakes and the barrels look terrible. So I make sure I get everything, and then I get around the tire stem here because it's a little hard to get your fingers in there, so I do that. Next step is I use the Easy Detail brush to get the barrels and around the wheel well. I start from the top and work my way around. Wheels are pretty dirty, like I said in the beginning of the video. It hasn't been washed in about 2 or 3 weeks. We had a lot of rain here in New Jersey the past week or so, so I haven't had a chance to get it clean. So the wheels are pretty dirty. I'm really happy with this wheel cleaner. I kind of bounce around to different ones once in a while, try something different. But the Adams, I just always seem to fall back on it. It just works well. I like, so you can tell it's kind of foaming up now, and all the purple, that's pulling all the iron out of from the brakes, or the brake dust and all that, and just stuff that was on the road, and you know, it kind of just helps clean the wheel a little bit better. You don't have to clean as hard, I guess. After that, I just go around and clean the wheel wells, tires. You see everything's kind of turning purple at the bottom here. It's kind of running off, which kind of lets me know that it's working. Next step is the hand wash with the lamb wool mitt. And I just go around and scrub the faces and get inside the spokes, because the brushes are just for the harder places to reach. This I'm able to really get the cleaning on, or cleaning in the crevices and spokes and all that. So this video is probably going to be pretty long, so I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to watch the full thing, but you know, it might be good for somebody that's actually interested. And if anybody has any questions, yes, I do follow Matt Mormon from Obsessed Garage. I've been following him ever before Obsessed Garage was even a thing. And the reason why I followed him was because I mean, obviously his cars and everything like that, and just his mindset on how to maintain his cars, and you know, his garage and everything. And you know, I always found that interesting. But the reason why I kind of was attracted to his brand and him as an individual is because I feel like him and I think alike in terms of just life in general. You know, obviously I don't have the means and the resources like he does, but I don't know. I'm a fan of just the way he thinks, mainly because it's the way I think, and you know, everything he says, I'm just like, wow, that's exactly what I was thinking. Or a lot of the procedures, you know, that I do now is not because of him, but it's, you know, it's stuff that I've done on my own. And then I found out that he was doing very similar things to what I was doing. You know, I picked some things up here and there from him, but most of the time it's, you know, a lot of stuff, I haven't really changed my method in 10, 12 years. You know, it's been pretty much the same. Okay, so I sprayed the tire down with tire rubber cleaner, so I'm just going to scrub it with this. I want to get a good foam. You know, what this does, just takes off all the, you know, you put tire, or not tire dressing on, but tire sealant maybe? I don't know what you call it. I guess tire dressing, but it's just Adams BRT. But some, you know, all the grime in the road and everything, it kind of stick to it and can make your tires look brown. So this is always kind of a really nice step to do to keep your tires looking good. So get that done, and that's the end. So you just got to rinse everything off. And there you go. I'm going to go around and finish the other 3 wheels, same procedure. I do the exhaust tips in a similar fashion. Well, I just use the Easy Detail brush basically, and wheel cleaner. I just spray it on, you know, clean inside and outside. But yeah, let me finish this, and then I'll move on to the next step, which is rinsing the car off and then foaming. So be right back. Now, next step is I'm going to rinse the car down with the pressure washer. Just kind of knock off all the loose debris and everything, and kind of get it prepped for the next step, which is foaming the car. So I'm going to go around, spray the car, and then I'll catch you guys in the next step. Alright, so I finished spraying down the car. Next step is I'm going to, I guess I'll just talk you through it. I'm going to get the 2 buckets ready to wash the car and fill out the foam cannon. It's pretty important to, well, first off, let me say Subaru paint sucks. It's really soft. Everything sticks to it, and it scratches really easily. It scratches if you look at it wrong or breathe on it wrong, which really sucks because, you know, it's having a darker colored car has its troubles to begin with. So having paint that scratches really easily, especially a darker color like this, for somebody like me or somebody like you that's watching, you know, it is a little frustrating. But I've kind of, you know, developed my process a little bit just to kind of make sure I don't scratch it. And you know, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of other ways to get this done. And what I mean by this done is washing the car, but this is just my way. This is not a right way. This is not a wrong way. This is not any way. It's just my way. So you know, take it for a grain of salt. If you do it differently, that's totally fine. But this is just the way I do it. And I just found, you know, through my process that of the way I do it, it kind of helps eliminate, you know, any major swirls or scratches. You know, I do get them once in a while, but I detail the car or I paint correct the car, you know, once at least once a year. You know, hoping, usually I try to get 2 in a year, usually in the spring and in the fall. I don't know if I'm going to get to it this fall. I just did it in May. I kind of did it late this year for my spring one. So, and the paint's still beating great and it's still really smooth. So I guess whatever I am doing, it is working. So let me get started. You know, with the buckets and all that. And I'll kind of go over what I use. So let me bring you over here. Like I said, I use a 2-bucket method. I use Adams, I believe this is Adams, yeah, the Adams wash mitt, Adams soap. I use this both, the Adams soap, both in my wash bucket as well as my foam cannon. There's so many soaps out there, but I just seem to always come back to Adams. It's pH neutral, which is great because if you do wash in the sun, you know, there's a lower chance for any type of paint, you know, issues with it drying on the paint or anything like that. So having a pH neutral soap is definitely important. But it foams really well. You know, there's certain foam. I have Geon, you know, foaming soap. I've tried a whole bunch of others. You know, there's some that do foam a little bit better than this, which this does foam great. But there's some that does foam better. But honestly, I feel like the slickness and how it feels on the paint. I think this is just. I always come back to this. So this is just what I use. And like I said, I use the Adams wash mitt. I've been meaning to try out the Incredipad, which I've heard great things about, but I have 2 of these, so I've just been using these for a long time. So once these get worn out, I'm sure I'll pick up the Incredipad and see what I like. But one thing that I do is instead of spraying it right in the bucket, I actually spray it or put the soap right onto the pad. It's kind of hard to do this on the camera, but I spray it right onto the pad like that. You know, that's all I need, and it'll give me a pretty good bucket of soap, and you know, that's all you really need in there, because the main part, or the most of the soap that's going to go on the car is from the foam cannon, which I probably should go over real quick. This is the MTM PF22. It's kind of expensive. It's about $100 or so, 80 to 90 bucks or something like that. But it just foams really well, and I've had cheaper ones which foam probably almost as great as this, but this is a little bit more consistent, and I just think it's going to last a little longer. The components on it and everything are just a little bit better. So, you know, to me, I'd rather pay a little bit more and have something that lasts twice as long than to pay, you know, keep on getting a cheaper one over and over because they keep breaking. So I invested in this one, and I love it. I've had it for about a year now, and it hasn't let me down. So I do have the 1.1 orifice inside to help with the foaming, and it does a great job. I'll show you in a little bit just how great of a job it does foaming. And next step that I do is I fill this up to, I don't know if you can really see, but there's 2 lines. I usually fill it up to the middle, like 1.5 to 2. And that usually gives me the best foam consistency. So I'll go ahead and fill it up real quick here. So I just squeeze a bunch in. So that's about 1.5, which will give me a little bit more because I'm recording. So just so you can see a little bit better foam. So that's about 1 3/4. It is a lot of soap, but soap is cheap. You know, you can get a gallon of this, I think, for 30 or something, $30, $40, something like that. So, and it lasts me a long time. So, you know, I have gallons of everything to kind of fill everything back up as I need it. So that always helps. And like I said earlier in the wheel, when I was cleaning the wheels, you know, don't be afraid to use the product. The more product you use, the better your outcome is. So use the product as it's intended, because you'll get a much better result. So definitely do that. I'm gonna go ahead, fill these buckets up. All right, so I got my hose. I just took it right off the pressure washer, and then fill it up with soap. I'm going to fill up The second bucket here, which is the rinse bucket of just water, so I can rinse my sponge out as I'm washing. It's really important to do 2 buckets just to help eliminate the scratching on the car, because basically you're taking all the contaminants off the car from your mitt. So if you don't kind of rinse it off, you're kind of just dragging it all over the paint, and it's just causing more problems. So the best thing to do is have 2 buckets here, one for washing and one to rinse. Yeah, having two buckets here definitely helps reduce the amount of swirls on your car, or in your car's paint, I should say. So it doesn't necessarily completely eliminate it. I think one of the more important things when trying to care for your car and not swirl it is in the drying process. You know, having 2 buckets definitely helps or slows down the process of it. It helps eliminate the amount of swirls that you do get. So that's always really important. So I definitely recommend that. And a great thing to do, I'm going to fill up my foam can. So I just take it and fill it up like this. I don't have to go to a sink or anything like that. It's much easier. I usually try not to fill it up all the way, usually to about there. Then I kind of mix it up like that, just to kind of get everything, because it does sit on the bottom and it is pretty sticky. So there we go. So we got that ready. Got the buckets ready. I'm going to take off the nozzle, and then I'm going to throw the foam cannon on. Pretty simple. It's all quick disconnects. So that's what it looks like. And then I'm just going to spray down the car real quick. This is usually the funnest part, the part that most people are interested in. So here we go. All right, so foam the car down. I just kind of let it sit there for, you know, a good couple minutes to let the foam kind of do its job and kind of pull any contaminants on the paint off the car. The whole point of foaming is to actually add lubricity, and also to kind of, you know, work on anything that is on the paint and kind of pull it off the car. As you can see, a lot of the soap is just dripping off. That's actually, if you look on the ground, you'll see a lot of like dirt and grime and everything and sand that was on the paint kind of just dripping off. So it's always a good practice to do that, because it allows to get as much crap off the paint without even doing any work. And you know, this is, I feel like, you know, with social media and everything these days, like using a power washer and a foam cannon is, I feel like people think it's a necessity to wash a car. I mean, it does help, and you know, I'm not gonna lie, it's fun to do, but it's not a necessity. You don't need to do this in order to get clean paint. You know, I used to wash my car with just, you know, 1 bucket or 2 buckets. I always use 2 buckets and just a normal hose, and I had some awesome looking paint when I used to do that. You know, it's just knowing the car's paint and how it reacts to certain things and everything like that. So you don't need all this expensive equipment. You know, there's tons of stuff out there, and you know, with everybody kind of doing YouTube and social media and everything, everyone's trying to sell this and that, and everyone is, you know, they kind of make you think you need all this stuff to wash your car. You don't. You can go out to, you know, your local AutoZone and pick up some McGuire's car wash soap, and, you know, have a mitt, and you got your hose and everything, and you can go to town. You know, for me, this is just something that I enjoy. It's a hobby of mine. It kind of is my therapy. So I don't mind investing, you know, money into the extra products and everything like that, because I enjoy it. and to me, it's fun keeping the car this clean. You know, for me, I always, a lot of people always commented about how clean my cars were and everything like that, and you know, I take a lot of pride in it. So to me, investing a little bit more into the hobby, I guess, was worth it to me. So, so now that I let the foam kind of do its job, I'm going to start with the wash. I'm just taking the wash mitt that I filled up with on the buckets I showed you earlier, and I'm going to start from the top down. So, you know, I'm not applying pressure. I'm literally letting the mitt do all the work. It's pretty, you know, with this thing filled up, it's pretty heavy, so you really don't need to, you know, you don't want to sit there and start scrubbing on the paint, because that's when you get in some trouble and a lot of the swirls and everything and scratches happen. So you don't want to do that. Anytime I finish one side or one panel, like right now, I'm going over to the other side of the roof, and I flip the pad around. So this side of the pad I've already used on that side, so that I have a clean, fresh, clean side. So I'm just gonna go and finish this side of the roof. You know, don't be afraid to rinse as often as possible. You know, just to help eliminate any chance of scratching. So right now I just did the windshield and the roof, and I'm gonna go rinse. All I do is just stick it in the rinse bucket and squeeze it out. Then I dip it back in the soap bucket. So now I'm just gonna do the rear windshield and the trunk. And like I said, you don't want to apply pressure. You don't want to apply pressure and just kind of dig into the paint. You want to let the product that you're using and the mitt do the work. So now I'm going to rinse again. I just did the rear windshield and the trunk. And now I guess the next thing I always do is the hood. And so as you can tell, I'm kind of just letting this glide over the paint. I'm not pushing down or anything like that. And there's so much soap on the car that it kind of just glides over it. You really don't need to do any work. You know, you're just letting the products that you paid for do the work, which is probably the way it should be, because you do spend, you know, if you're like me, you do spend a decent amount of money on this stuff. So why not have the products that you buy do the work for you? All right, so I did the hood. Now I'm gonna just do the side windows and everything, and then I'll start working on the sides. Usually the last panel or last side that I do is the rear bumper. I find that to be the dirtiest on the car, just because of I guess the way the aerodynamics of this car. A lot of the dirt sticks onto the back, like the back sill of the bumper. So I find that to be the dirtiest. The front bumper, you would think, would be the dirtiest, but I don't drive on the highway, so it doesn't, you know, it's not really a lot of bugs or anything like that. There's not a lot of grime on there. So I usually end up doing the rear bumper last, just because there's so much dirt on there. But yeah, so you want to work from your top down, and the reason for that is, you know, the bottom of the car is usually where most of the grime and the sand and dirt and everything is, because, you know, it's closest to the ground. So it's kind of inevitable that kind of stuff sticks there. So you want to work from the roof down, just because usually it's less dirty up top compared to the bottom. So, you know, you don't want to, you know, yeah, I'll show you. You don't want to do, I won't do it, but you know, you want to start at the top of the panel. You don't want to start down here, because if you start down there and work your way up, you're kind of just bringing all that dirt from the bottom up onto the top. So you just kind of want to do the top part of the panel, and then I flip it around and do the bottom here. And then I'm going to go rinse it again, because I did that panel. Like I said, this car is pretty dirty. It hasn't been washed in, you know, 2 weeks. Well, I shouldn't say pretty dirty, because I know a lot of people wait a lot longer than that, but to me, it's pretty dirty. You know, I usually don't like letting it go that long, but that's just me. I'm kind of nuts. So yeah, I'm gonna start doing the sides here. Each panel I do, it basically rinse off. You know, that's why not. I have the buckets here, so why not do that step? You know, sometimes I get kind of carried away and I just started doing more than one panel at a time, which is okay. You know, if the car is relatively clean, it's not a big deal, but you know, if it's dirtier, I kind of make sure that I rinse with every panel that I'm doing. But yeah, like I said, this is just my process. I don't want people to, you know, think that, oh, this is definitely the way to do it. You know, there's a million ways to do this. So don't get caught up in exactly how I do it, or don't start commenting in the comments. You know, do this, do that, do this. You know, I'm not interested. I don't really care, because this is just the way I do it, and it works for me. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, then, you know, that's fine too. But, all right, so I did all the sides, the tops. I haven't done the back yet, or the you know, the back trunk area. So I'm gonna do the front bumper here. This is not as dirty as the rear is. You know, same concept here. You want to work on the top and then kind of work your way down. Yeah, don't get me wrong, the front bumper does get dirty, obviously, but I just don't find it to get as dirty. The rear bumper just kind of holds dirt more. All right, so now I'm going to do the back bumper. I'll be a little bit more cautious here because I don't want to scratch anything. So, sorry, I'm not really getting the best shots. I'm just kind of setting the camera up here and doing my thing. I'm not looking to get crazy shots here. Maybe one day I'll get more creative, but for now, this is what you get. I just finished washing the car. You know, I let all the soap kind of do the work. You know, with the foam cannon, I kind of rinsed everything off, and then I just did a basic wash. You know, went around the car, did each panel. So now it's basically, the only things left that I gotta do is I'm just gonna rinse the car down. Get you a different angle here so it's not too boring looking at the same angle all the whole time. All right, so I rinsed the car down. And then my next step is obviously going to be drying the car off. You know, again, there's always a couple ways to do everything. You know, usually if it's during the day, I'll take my electric leaf blower and kind of blow everything off. But right now it's a little too late for that. So I'm probably going to sheet the car using the hose to kind of get any excess water off. Because right now there's a lot of water on the car, and you know, it's going to take forever to dry it. And you know, using my drying microfibers, it would take too long because there's just too much water on the car. The car is definitely still beating really well, but you know, that's the thing. The beats sit on the car. They don't necessarily just rinse, you know, drop off unless there's a big you know, a lot of water going into one spot. So I'm gonna kind of clean some things up over here. I'm done with the pressure washer, so I'm not gonna need that anymore. Thankfully, because it is almost 11 o'clock at night, and I don't want to annoy my neighbors. It's the only bad part about doing it so late. I feel so bad, but thankfully I have cool neighbors, and they don't yell at me. I guess they understand my craziness, and that I have little to no time because I have 2 kids. So. Or they just don't mind. I don't know. Either way, I'm always happy when I get this part done when I'm washing this late, because I just feel bad. But all right, so pressure washer is away. Now I'm gonna get the hose out, which I already still have it out from. I got my hose here. And I'm simply just going to sheet the water off. I don't know if you'll be able to see on camera, but you'll see a bunch of this water kind of just slide right off, and it just kind of, it helps with the drying process. You want to turn it on low, kind of just rinse it like that. And you see a lot of the beads kind of just come right off the car, and basically dries the car. You know, it's obviously going to be some, but it really helps. And plus it's just kind of fun to wash. So I'm going to go around and sheet the whole car. Alright, so a lot of you are obviously saying, hey, do you have a drain in your garage? Nope, I do not. But I guess the grade of the garage, which most garages should, they'd be kind of sloping out. So the water just basically drains out, but there is some places where it kind of pools up. So I just get a really old broom that I have, which I've been meaning to get a new one, and just kind of push the water out. It just helps the process so the water just doesn't sit here. So if anybody has the means or the ability to wash in their garage, I definitely suggest trying it out. Kind of changed my life. You know, because like I said, I always used to try to beat the sun, and you know, sometimes I wouldn't even be able to wash it because I'd run out of time, or you know, it's raining out. Like, you know, it's great. I'm able to wash the car when it's raining out. You know, if I know it's not going to rain the next day or something, and you know, I want the car clean, I'll just do it at night. You might notice, actually, I don't have the side blades on here. I know a lot of people question me about those pieces. I don't have them on right now because I took them off real quick. Yeah, I'll show you. This is gonna be another video, but these are side blades that I have on the side of the car. But I actually just picked up some canards, so they'll go on the bumper. It'll be like kind of like this. You can't really see it, but on the side of the bumper. I'll go over more in detail about who makes these and the install of them, but I just took them off so I can put some new tape on there so I can get a good cleaning where they're going there before they put them back on. All right, drying, pretty important step. This is where a lot of people can screw up, otherwise perfect paint. You don't want to go crazy, you don't want to do any scrubbing or anything like that, because most of all of the dirty work is basically done. So you don't want to go there and just start, you know, if you see like a bug guts or something, you don't want to start, you know, scrubbing on it, because it's just going to create some issues and scratches and everything. So I'll go over that if the car doesn't really have any, but you should have most of that stuff off by now in the washing process. So my drying process is pretty simple. If it's during the day, I use the leaf blower to get most of the water off. If it's during the night, I use the sheeting process. And to actually dry it, I'll always use, I'm a huge fan, this is Bead Maker. It's backwards, great. But this product is Bead Maker. It's made by P&S. I think it'll always be in my arsenal. I use it as my drying aid, and basically this puts a topper on top of my current protection on the car. It's very hydrophobic to water. It lasts, which I'm really happy about, and it's pretty cheap. You can get a gallon of this stuff for like under $40. And I constantly just refill this and buy gallons of it. It's just to me, very inexpensive, and it's a product that really, really works. Most of the beading, I would say, is from Bead Maker. So I would definitely suggest picking it up. And also a great thing about it is if you do have a ceramic or any type. Right now I have a sealant and a wax on it. And putting this on top of that just helps prolong your coating or your protection on the car. It helps it last so much longer. You know, you don't constantly have to wax it every couple months or something like that. So this stuff really prolongs your protection on the car. So I do plan on ceramic coating the car next, on my next detail. Right now I have Jescar Power Lock and Coal Night on the car, but I plan to do G-Technic, CSL, and EXO for my ceramic coating the next time I do detail the car. So I'm going to do that next, but on my next detail, I should say. But for now, this is holding up really well. I'll see how it is in about a month. right before winter hits. If I start seeing things start to fail, I might, correct the paint and put the ceramic on. But most likely I'll end up doing that in the spring because this is just holding up really well. So I've been happy with it, and it looks great. It really, especially on this color, it gives a lot of depth, and it just looks really good on this color. So my drying press is pretty simple. I literally just take the bead maker, spray it on the towel, and I'll spray it on the panel that I'm doing, and then just wipe it down. If you never used this stuff before, you'll notice, especially when it's humid or if you live in an environment where it is humid, you'll notice it kind of, at least the first couple times, it'll be really, it kind of looks like it smears around the paint, which is totally normal. I found that it takes a couple applications for the paint to kind of, I guess, accept it in a way, where it starts to get a little bit easier to apply, and it doesn't look as smeary when you wipe it on. Also, you got to pay attention to the towels that you're using. If you are constantly using the same towel and you're spraying it, eventually the towel becomes hydrophobic, so it kind of doesn't really do its job. But I've been using these for a while now, and I haven't really had any issues. And the great thing about Bead Maker is you can use it on the windows as well, and it kind of gives a little bit of a coating on the windshield, or the windows in general. So it kind of gives that glass coating effect where you're driving down the road and it kind of just shoots off. It's one of my favorite things is when I am driving in the rain or something, I like to not use my wipers because basically I don't need them. If I'm on the highway and I'm going fast enough, the water will just shoot right off. And not only does that save my blades, my wiper blades, but it also is just really fun to watch. So there's that. But yeah, it's a really simple process. I highly suggest picking this stuff up. It's just awesome. The paint feels amazing with it on, especially if it's your paint's properly cared for. But even so, if you never used it before, and it's your first time and you're looking for something quick like this, you'll love it. There's a lot of stuff out there. I've used the spray-on ceramic coatings basically, or I've used Geon's wet coat, which is really cool, but it just doesn't last. It's really hydrophobic, but with that I found there's a chance of you can have some streaking if you don't apply it right, or the paint's too hot or something. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's not worth it to me. It looks good. It works well for the first couple of weeks, whatever. But I found maybe the next wash or two, I found it to be failing. And you're spending a decent amount of money on that stuff, so I kind of took that out of my arsenal. And then I found Bead Maker, and I haven't looked back. Stuff is awesome. But I don't know if you can really tell, but it just paint feels awesome. Like I said, there are some. I did find a few swirls and stuff, but it's nothing that that's really killing me. If I see, sometimes I'll see them and it'll drive me nuts, and I have to go polish them out. But lately, I feel like my process and the paint has just been holding up really well. I drive the car every day too, so I drive it just as much as everybody else. So it's interesting to see how different things hold up over time. But this Bead Maker stuff is just it's awesome. But yeah, you can spray this stuff on everything. You don't have to. It's not just on the actual painted stuff. I use on the headlights, taillights, windows. Use on the wheels. And you can use on everything. And It's like, if you haven't could tell, this is my favorite product that I used, and it's not that often that I come across a product that I'm that kind of hyped about. So, you know, I'm not obviously not a salesman, or I don't sell the product, so I get no kickback or anything from it. I'm just kind of letting you in on my secret sauce. But like I said, a lot of people use it these days, so it's not really not much of a secret anymore. Yeah, I mean, I got some, I guess some bugs still on here, so I'll kind of just go over and just kind of rub it a little bit. Most of the time it's pretty loose, so it'll come right off. I'm doing the all the jams and under the hood and everything. You know, it's a lot of people don't take this step, but I do. And it just kind of helps maintain the car. You know, it's easier to keep a car clean if it stays clean. You know, sometimes people get overwhelmed because they don't do this stuff with every wash. So when they go to do it, it's just so dirty that they just kind of, you know, lose interest, or they just don't want to do it. But I do it with every wash, so I try to keep everything pretty clean. So when I do clean it, it's much easier to maintain. But this is my door jam towels, and I use the same stuff, bead maker. So I'll just spray it on towel just to give some, you know, lubricacy. So lubras, I don't even know what that word is. Just to give it some protection as I'm cleaning everything. And I'll go around and just clean around the edges, mainly because there's still residual water sitting there, and you know, that's how like water spots can happen. You know, if it's just sitting there for forever in the same spot, you know, eventually dries, but it'll dry and create a water spot. So, and plus, especially the engine bay, it's with everything that I recently did, it's kind of fun to come under here and look at it. I had a request for somebody asking me to do a video on how I clean my engine bay, and this is pretty much it. I can do a whole video on it, like when I do like a full actual cleaning, but I mean, for every wash, this is what I do. So it stays relatively clean. There's no like, it never gets to the point where it's so dirty that it really needs like a full insane clean. I usually do, you know, like I'll spray it down with a pressure washer and get some all-purpose and kind of scrub everything down. That's basically the gist of my engine bay details, I guess. But I mean, this is what I do with every wash. I just open up the hood, kind of wipe everything down, you know, just get any grime and stuff out that kind of builds up over the week or two that I'm driving, and you know, kind of pops up into the engine bay just from driving. A lot of people are kind of nervous to, I guess, pressure wash an engine bay because there's, you know, it's your engine. There's wires and plugs and all that stuff. But you got to realize you drive in the rain, most people, and the stuff gets wet. So everything is, you know, all weatherproofed. You know, obviously, if you're not going to sit here and spray the intercooler or spray the fuse box or anything like that, but yeah, you kind of stay away from that stuff for the most part. But like most of the stuff in an engine bay is pretty protected, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, that's the engine. Like I said, I can do a whole video on actual engine bay cleaning. But that's what I do every wash to kind of keep it maintained. So now I'm going to go around and do the trunk. You're not going to be able to see, it's kind of dark back there. I guess recording at night is not the best time to record. But yeah, I'm going to go around and do all the door jams, kind of same process. I'm going to use the bead maker and my door jam towel and kind of clean everything up. Next thing I'm going to do is the glass. I have a specific cleaner, obviously, and a towel. This is a waffle weave towel, so I found it to work really well on the glass. I don't like using anything too thick or too thin where it kind of just smears it around. The waffle weave I found to work best on glass. And this is just Adam's window cleaner. There's tons of products out there that are great. As long as you have something that's ammonia free, especially if you have tint, you're fine. I just spray it on. Windows can be a pain in the butt. I really hate doing glass because no matter what I do, it never turns out perfect. But I've gotten better at it over the years. Inside windshield's always a pain because I feel like no matter how good of a job I do, it never turns out well. But I don't necessarily do this every time, just because it doesn't really necessarily need it. But it's been a few washes since I've done the windshield, so I figure I'll knock it out. This is kind of 2 for 1. Any leftover on this dash, I just wipe off, and it kind of cleans it up too. So I'm gonna get the front window here. I kind of like working my way back. I do the front window, through the inside and outside of the front window, front doors, then move to the back and kind of do the same thing. This side's a little easier to reach because there's no steering wheel in the way. But what I found doing the windshield in here is you gotta get all the cracks and then kind of scrub pretty hard. So as long as you kind of get every area, you get a pretty good result. Same thing, I'm wiping the dash down. I'll come in here and do an interior wipe down too, but since there's spraying the windshield, it kind of gets everywhere. You kind of just clean it up, and it helps doing the dash. But one thing that you have to make sure, especially if your windows are tinted, is you have something that's ammonia free, because if you use a cleaner that is not ammonia free, it'll damage the tint. So I always make sure, no matter what, I use ammonia-free cleaners, even if it's not tinted, just because I feel like it's a little safer. Alright, so last step, I'm just going to finish up the wheels, or finish up the car, I should say. Everything else is clean. I just have a really old, kind of thick microfiber. I don't even know what this brand is, but I like it because it can hold a lot of water. I don't care about it anymore, so that's what I use to dry my wheels off. It's nice and soft, so I don't have to worry about scratching or anything like that. So I'll go around and kind of just wipe off all any residual water that's kind of sitting on the wheels, and then I'll dress the wheels. All right, so dressing the wheels. This is another Adams product that I use. It is VRT, which is still backwards. Sorry about that. But it's Adams VRT. I like it. I found to like it the most. I have used Carpro Pearl before, and I wasn't crazy about it. It left my tires brown. Even when I diluted it and everything, I wasn't crazy about it. And I found this actually has a very, very similar finish, which is, I don't like it super glossy. It kind of leaves a matte finish, and it just looks really clean and fresh. So this is just what I've been sticking to. Yes, it's in a different bottle, but I just kind of prefer the clean look of the bottle. And this is an Adams Polish tire dresser applicator, which is really nice because it's a good grip. I've used other ones before and my hands got all gross. So all I do is just squirt some on, kind of get it into the applicator, and just apply it to the tires. And it gives a really nice finish. I don't wipe any excess off. Some people put it on and then when they're done, they go back around and wipe any excess off. I like the finish of it just from one application of it. So yeah, that's it. It's pretty simple. Kind of gives a good finish. There is some rust on the tire, on the rotor, which I kind of remedy when I pull the car back into the garage. I do this kind of crazy dance where I go back and forth on my driveway and hold the brakes to kind of get rid of any of the rust off. There's a product made by Hides. It's called, I forget what it's called, it's rust prohibitor or something like that. You can spray it on the rotors, which helps. But I just kind of annoy my neighbors even more and just go back and forth on my driveway and kind of get it off that way. That way it kind of eliminates the amount of orange dust that gets on the wheels when I drive it first. So let me finish doing the other tires, and then I'll kind of finish up and give my recap, I guess, of the wash, and finish this video up. Finish up the wash. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is just my process of how I wash my car. I know there's other products, other ways to get this done, but I've said this a couple of times throughout the video, but this is just the way I do it. So I just don't want to hear people in the comments saying you're doing this wrong, doing that wrong. Of course I can take some constructive criticism. I'm always willing to learn stuff, but again, it's not the right way to do it, or it's not the wrong way to do it. It's just the way I do it. So yeah, that's the process I do pretty much every single weekend. At most, maybe 2 or 3 weeks if I don't get a chance to wash it. But that's the process I do every single time. The only thing I didn't get on film was me just wiping down the interior. Not that exciting. It's literally me just taking a microfiber towel that I have dedicated just for interior stuff. I use Adam's interior spray down the towel and just kind of wipe everything down. It just doesn't give it a glossy or greasy feeling or anything like that. It's just cleans everything and gives it a nice finish, and it smells pretty good too. Yeah, that's the whole process. I know this video was probably pretty long for most of you, but I wanted to make sure I kind of get all the detail of everything that I do, because I know I get a ton, probably the most asked question about how I wash my car, what products I use and stuff. So I figured I'd make just kind of a step-by-step video of how I do that. I know a lot of you are interested in it, so got that done. So I'm glad. If anybody has any questions, obviously don't hesitate to ask. I really do enjoy the conversation and stuff, and that's kind of what I'm doing this for. Is I really like doing the videos, and I like meeting new people, and kind of just talking about the car and everything like that. So don't be afraid to ask questions. I very much enjoy doing that kind of stuff. It's fun for me. If anybody has any questions about the products I use, the process, any of the specific parts, with the foam cannon and the pressure washer or anything, just let me know. I can send you guys some links to this stuff. It's pretty easy to find, but I'll be sure to just give you links of where I got it, at least, so you can see what I guess I paid for them. I don't know. Some people might be interested in that, but yeah, that's the car. It's clean for another week. I'll be driving it every single day this week, so it's ready to roll. And but yeah, that's my car wash process. Again, if you guys have any questions, ask them below. I'd really appreciate it if you guys can throw a like on the video. It has been helping. Yeah, so I look forward to the next video. Catch you later, guys.